They regulate the Strait of Hormuz. And they have also ensured that from petrodollar, it becomes petro-yuan. They are charging ships, and especially, by the way, Pakistani ships and Pakistani flags are the most popular. If you have the Pakistani flag, you pay the toll tax in yuan, you can sail through peacefully. Because we are a friend of Iran and we are also a friend of the region, and Pakistan, luckily today, enjoys the confidence of Riyadh, Tehran, Ankara, Beijing, Washington, Moscow, and the other Gulf countries as well. That's why we are seen as an honest broker and a serious interlocutor. Transformation of this war, what are the strategic implications? The first one is the paramount role of maritime security, maritime economy, maritime diplomacy. And here I would like from Islamabad, Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon. In the name of the Almighty, the Lord of all mankind. It is my pleasure to be speaking and giving this keynote at one of Pakistan's premier think tanks, the National Institute for Maritime Affairs, headed by a very learned and thinking and professional naval officer, Admiral Javed Iqbal, whose tweets I follow very closely, and I suggest you also follow because he speaks the truth. Above any office, above any considerations of nationality, and I think that's the need of the hour. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to start my address keynote to all the distinguished ladies and gentlemen who are listening in through this webinar with a very famous quotation of the great Russian revolutionary Lenin. And Lenin said something which is quite apt in my view in the current scenario. He said, and I quote, "There are decades when nothing happens. And then there are weeks when decades happen." We are seeing these weeks in which decades are happening, a huge transformation taking place, and this is affecting the world at large, not just the region where the war is currently being fought. Let us be very clear about the context. This is Netanyahu's war, the biggest warmonger in the region, and he roped in President Trump by blackmailing him through the Epstein files, and probably also told him that soon the war will be ending in 2-3 days, and it will be a cakewalk like maybe Saddam Hussein's Iraq or Bashar al-Assad's Syria or Venezuela. Iran has proven that is not the case. And if we see the big picture, the Middle East region, of which we are a part, which is a part of the broader Muslim world, 3 key events have taken place in the last 70 years that have been decisive turning points in our region's history. 70 years ago, the Suez War. The British and the French and Israel attacked Egypt. Militarily, they were able to overcome, but they lost the war strategically and politically. And that was the beginning of the end of the British Empire. 70 years ago, after Nasser's nationalization of Suez Canal. The second big turning point in Middle East politics was in October 1973. We call it the Ramzan War or the October War or the Yom Kippur War, whatever you call it. That was the first time a Muslim country, a third world country, a country of the global south, under the leadership of the great King Faisal of Saudi Arabia, used oil as a political weapon to punish the Western supporters of Israel by imposing an oil embargo even on the United States of America, and that was a turning point also. So that changed the landscape of the region, the Palestine issue, petrodollars, everything was turned topsy-turvy. The war against Iran, the illegal and unprovoked US-Israel aggression against Iran is the third such event, which is transformation. What are the goals of the aggressors? In my view, there are 3 goals of the US-Israeli aggression. Number 1, regime change in Iran and weaken and fragment Iran on the model of Libya, Syria, and the Sudan, which they have done. And this was a very old plan, as you know, even after 9/11, they said we'll take out so many countries and so forth. So that's number 1. Number two, reshape the Middle East politically, greater Israeli hegemony. And number three, divert attention away from the formation of a Palestine state with Jerusalem as the capital. So that is part of it. They don't want a Palestine state, which is part of the United Nations resolution and which is central to peace, stability in the Middle East. In this regard, what is the current scenario? Currently, Iran has the upper hand because Iran, as a weak power facing aggression from two nuclear powers, has done what a weak state does, which is the leverage they have. And they did a master stroke. They have a choke point on the Strait of Hormuz. And instead of closing the Strait of Hormuz, they control the Strait of Hormuz. They regulate the Strait of Hormuz. And they have also ensured that from petrodollar, it becomes petro-yuan. They are charging ships, and especially, by the way, Pakistani ships and Pakistani flags are the most popular. If you have the Pakistani flag, you pay the toll tax in yuan, you can sail through peacefully. Because we are a friend of Iran and we are also a friend of the region, and Pakistan, luckily today, enjoys the confidence of Riyadh, Tehran, Ankara, Beijing, Washington, Moscow, and the other Gulf countries as well. That's why we are seen as an honest broker and a serious interlocutor. And in this regard, I would also like to mention what was mentioned in the initial introduction, that in the transformation of this war, what are the strategic implications? The first one is the paramount role of maritime security, maritime economy, maritime diplomacy. And here I would like to commend the Pakistan Navy. They have launched operational Muhafazatul Bahr, protection of the Gulf. They are ensuring that in the sea lines of communication that we have within Pakistan, they are escorting ships, they are providing security to Pakistani and other naval vessels and tankers. And this is a very critical role that the Pakistan Navy has played, and has played this role in the past also as part of the combined task force. And I think that Admiral Javed, you're going to be very busy because the future is all about maritime. And unfortunately, some in Pakistan and other countries, we have sea blindness. And we see the world not through the waterways, but through the landmass. The important thing is the waterways, Indian Ocean, Pacific Ocean, Arabian Sea, Strait of Hormuz, and be very clear, next is Strait of Mandab. They'll probably close it also if the war continues. So it's all about maritime security and beefing up. So that's number one, the first strategic consequence of the war. Just two things. The second one is that the West is divided. Europe has separated from the United States. And the United States, in my view, is in decline. President Trump is presiding over a declining America. The third consequence of this war is that there is an emergence historically of a very important development, the Muslim Quad. 5 major Muslim middle powers have gotten together: Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Egypt. And this is, in my view, the embryonic basis of a future security, defense, and diplomatic initiative by a core group of Muslim middle powers. Later on, perhaps Iran and Indonesia can also join, but they are going to play a key role in the next 10 years in their respective areas to determine the future course of events. And the last big implication of this war is, I think, in my view, China has won 2 wars without firing a single shot. China is a beneficiary of that because inadvertently, although China's role is very principled, very straight, and today I saw the statement of Mr. Wang Kong, the Chinese ambassador to the UN, on the UN resolution, and they said, we oppose any resolution that talks of authorizing use of force because the root cause has to be addressed first. Because Strait of Hormuz is not the cause of the conflict, it is the consequence of the conflict. China, 2 wars I mean, the Pakistan-India conflict where the Chinese technology and Pakistani talent defeated the Rafale and the Western technology, and now that was in the field of military technology, and now in the field of energy and economy, China has emerged as the dominant force, and China has also emerged as the leading guarantor. My last word is that I agree with the proposal and a very innovative and out-of-box proposal of Admiral Javed Iqbal, the chairman of NIMA, that the 3-month moratorium be given, because that will give comfort to the victim of aggression. And I think that can lay the basis of a durable, lasting peace. Otherwise, the use of force, might is right, that is all failed. And if there's going to be a comfort level, then because they don't trust America and Israel, they have fought wars against Iran on the basis of lies and deception.